MPs are using the bill in this way.
I call the honourable member Dr Kennedy Graham.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I just rise to join my colleague David Clendon in expressing the Green Party's support for the bill at second reading. Following the discussion tonight, quite closely and with interest, I just want to, in passing, say that I'm stumbling with the logic of our good colleague Dennis O'Rourke from New Zealand First in his exposition this evening, because he essentially excoriated the intrinsic merits of the bill, which we are not disposed to do, and I don't think any other party is, but New Zealand First was wont to do tonight. And that is all well and good. It is one thing to oppose a bill. It's one thing even to change a party's position from first reading to second reading, where we do it, other parties do. But they're usually done on the basis of logic.
Order.
That's quite okay, Mr Speaker. Thank you for your concern. I'll be interested to discuss it, perhaps out of the chamber with the Speaker, because let me just follow the logic, and I don't wish to spend too much time on this, but very quickly. In the first reading, New Zealand First, in the form of Mr O'Rourke, said the following. With regard to the priority provisions, he said, all those seem quite important issues. With regard to the time extension, he said, we see no problem here either. With regard to summary dismissal, he said, that seems appropriate as well. With regard to the non-appeal issue, he said, that again, we think is quite appropriate and allows some flexibility for the court to order its business efficiently. And then finally, New Zealand First does approve and support the bill as a whole. We think it is well drafted and is in accordance with the Law Commission's recommendations. Normally a party lays down certain conditions. If those conditions are not met in the select committee, then you change your vote. But the criticism advanced tonight, which was to say that the thing was next to nothing bill by Dr Doolittle, was redundant even before drawn from the ballot, seems to be fundamentally...
I've already cautioned the member on my left.
Fundamentally illogical.
Order. Speaker Arthur, 1984, and it's convention in this place that those in close proximity to each other, especially on the crossbenches, don't interject because of the effect on the microphone. Dr Kennedy Graham.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and that's all I have to say on the matter. It seems fundamentally illogical, and I'm more than happy to discuss it after the House so that I can be corrected, perhaps. Having seen what I take to be a fallacy in New Zealand's First position, let me convey my own personal fallibility, because in the first reading I said that I could see nothing wrong with the bill, and clearly the Select Committee, in its sublime wisdom, did. Two aspects, time extension and the pre-hearings, were dropped, and the other two provisions were retained, and we respect that. And so we will support the bill, and we perhaps we had laboured mightily and brought forth a mouse, but it's all in good fun and with good intent, I have no doubt, from Mr Alkenvold. Andrew Little said this is not to be trifled with, and we agree with that. But as not trifling with the intrinsic merits of the bill does not preclude us from criticising, as Labour has, especially, and ourselves, from the procedure of introducing these kinds of bills into the members' ballot, because we strongly disagree with that. And I would also, Leanne Dalzell said she thought that Chris Arkenvold was playing a game with the House. We wouldn't be as mean-spirited as to advance that criticism, but we would share, or at least echo Leanne Dalzell's warning that the bill will be subject, no doubt, to intense questioning and expecting replies, perhaps in Latin, in the Committee of the Whole from the author of the bill. Perhaps in light of the criticism of the procedure of putting this kind of bill into the ballot, the author, Chris Arkenvold, could perhaps write an op-ed for the nation to read as to why it was the case that it had to go through, recalling perhaps his moment of inspiration that led to the drafting of the bill. Was it on the road to Damascus? Was it under the apple tree, sir? Was it reclining in the bathtub? Did he leap out and run in full glory, shouting Eureka through the streets? Or was it perhaps none of the above? And if it was none of the above, do we deserve an apology from him to the House for this? With what dedication and perseverance, commitment did Mr Alkenveld steer this through? With what stealth did he introduce it into his caucus and guide it through into the ballot? Perhaps he could write an op-ed that explains this, because I think it has become an issue of abiding concern to the House. And I do think that it is perhaps the subject of a standing orders review when the time comes. Thank you.
I call the honourable member Ian McKelvey.
Mr Speaker, I want to take a moment to congratulate